has it, YouTube has it, Skype has it, Apple now has it with bringing together convergence of communication and content. And Apple is in fact the ultimate razor and blade business model. You can only buy content to serve on your iPad, iPhone, Apple TV from Apple, and that's the razor handle. And they will then charge you for the content, and those are the razor cartridges. And that makes Gillette look like a tiny business. And the business model is the same. Get the consumer, serve them great stuff, and keep them with you for the lifetime of your brand and their lifetime. And sounds quite trite and easy, but it's very, very hard and very intensive to do all the time. Now, in terms of King of Shaves itself, so I wrote this book. I was asked to write a book by Headline last year, which briefly was at the top of their business best-selling lists. And in it, I had an acronym which was called SPACE. And I came up with that partly because I'm astronaut number 74, book 2, go on Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic spaceship when it takes off in the next 3 or 4 years. There's a method in my madness there. I'm not some sort of crazy, rich space tourism guy who's got more money than sense. I'm involved in that area because I get maybe the opportunity to shave Mr. Beardy Branson's beard off in space, which I think would be pretty cool. And secondly, there's lots of engineering and technology and knowledge and networking and people that you meet in that space who aren't like hedge fund guys or billionaires. They're people interested in pushing the boundaries of technology and success. And from this sort of space thing, I came up with an acronym, SPACE, and I'll run you through what I believe are the 5 key attributes you need to have if you're developing a business, growing a business, working and differentiating your product, your brand, your service from a challenger brand perspective when you're taking on established competitors. The first one is rewarding yourself regularly to celebrate the satisfaction of success. Now, men's beards grow overnight. So my opportunity for people to use my products is normally in the morning before they start their daily work or going about their business. Had I been in coffee, for example, I'll probably drink 10 cups of coffee a day. And therefore, the product consumption would be much higher. So it's taken me quite a long time to build King of Shaves into the challenger brand with a global presence, purely because of the consumption rate of our products and the competitors we've faced. And over that time, I've had to sort of, in a way, look after myself a bit, because it's quite lonely when you're starting off and you say to people, I'm going to challenge Gillette in our lifetime to be a fantastic shaving brand. And often they'll laugh, whether it's bankers, whether it's investors, whether it's friends who think you should go back to doing what you were doing, whether it's buyers at supermarkets. And rewarding yourself by taking little rewards for the bite-sized little satisfactions of success you have. I have a Crunchie every Friday to sort of like think, oh, it's Friday, I'll have a Crunchie, I'll look back on what I've achieved this week, whether it's opening up a new retail channel, whether it's hiring somebody really good new into the business, whether it's overcoming some problems or adversities that we've faced. And I think don't forget when you're running and founded your business to reward yourselves. Because at the start, nobody else will. And you've got to look after yourself if you're going to look after your employees, your shareholders, your consumers, and you've got to feel good about yourself. And the satisfaction of success and taking it in bite-sized chunks and looking after yourself is very important just to keep your mental momentum flowing. If I could just cue the next slide. Secondly, P stands for passion and persistence. All the top entrepreneurial guys in the world have this in spades. And there is really no stopping them in terms of what they're going to do. Fine, some of them may become hyper wealthy through growing businesses which have got massive market caps or big success in the markets. But most people who aim to succeed in their space aren't necessarily or at all driven by money. They're driven by the desire to be the best. And that's certainly case in point with what Apple tried to do with their brand. It's certainly a case in point with what many other companies who are succeeding in their space try to do. It's certainly the case in point with King of Shaves. So I'm very open in what I try to do, how I try to do it, transfer my enthusiasm for why enjoying a King of Shaves each morning rather than just a shave is good, why we're better, I believe, why we don't charge as much as our consumers. To enjoy the King of Shaves with our A's razor, you don't need to pay a king's ransom. Where we're going, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And imbuing that passion into the DNA of not just my brand, but also the team who work around me and people who enjoy our business. And getting passion, it's not something you can really measure on a scale. It's just a feeling that people have about you as a person, your business, your objectives, how you're going about it. And it's, again, and it can be very emotionally intense, and often you can get a bit hooked into people saying, oh, I don't like your razor, or I do, or why have you done this, and when you need to explain to them why you're doing it. It's very personal. And again, via social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., communities that now discuss brand, getting the passion across into real life people in real ways, very important. And then secondarily, persistence. You've got to keep on trying. It's impossible is nothing, just do it. You know, had I known that Gillette was as big as it was back in 1993, I might have said to myself, oh, I'm never going to succeed because they're so big. The reality of it is, in my market, I only have 3 competitors. One's very big, one's not quite as big, and the other one's lack of awareness. And what I talk about most in terms of the context of the globalization of King of Shaves as a brand is, how do I overcome lack of awareness of our brand without recourse to spending tens, hundreds of millions of pounds on TV or print or press advertising campaigns? And in a way, part of that is addressing and talking to you guys here, giving you a little bit of an insight into why we're doing what we're doing. But the persistence, you've got to keep going for it, as Victor Khayyam, who's used to own Remington, said, keep going for it. Because many, many people you'll find, if you believe in your product, you're displaying persistence, you've got passion, they'll fall away. And then it will just be left with you and the people you're genuinely challenging, who are the serious players in the boxing ring. A is attitude and action. Got to have a strong positive attitude about what you're doing and why you're doing it, because everybody around you need to buy into that. And if you're going around a little bit down and a little bit, oh, it's not really good as it could be, in a small company like mine, how and what's given off at an executive level permeates down very quickly into the organization. And I'm pleased to say that the King of Shaves, we've always grown, we're always challenging, we're always doing things different. We've just launched a new range called Kings, which is for like young guys who are into Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, fashion brands at Boots, because Boots asked us to come up with something different for a market they felt they weren't addressing. So we did. And that attitude and the action of doing it, doing the research, launching the product, working with a multi-billion-pound retailer, to do that, that's walking the talk, not just talking about what you're going to do. And we're very much walkers at King of Shaves. That's a little funny. That obviously should actually be confidence at the start, not confide as such, should be confidence, so I apologize for that. Confidence, common sense, and community. Confidence, people want to do business or be around people who are confident. All right, the England team like being around Wayne Rooney when Wayne Rooney is confident at scoring goals and is going to deliver. When people aren't confident in their ability to deliver, especially in business, there's a sort of little vibe that's given off, and people are a little nervous about doing business with them. What people hate in business is overconfident people. So people who project confidence, but there's nothing underneath, i.e. they're just talking rubbish, and they're never going to get there. And over the 17 years, I've said what I'm going to do with King of Shaves, certainly since